I never expected to wake up in a completely different body. One moment, I was just Jake, sitting on the edge of my bed, rubbing the sleep from my eyes, thinking about my normal day ahead. The next moment, I wasn't. I blinked, heart racing, and the first thing I noticed was the softness of the sheets against skin that didn't feel like mine. Panic surged as I lifted my hands and froze. They were smaller, delicate, and covered with smooth skin. My reflection in the mirror across the room wasn't mine. It was her face, my twin sister, Emily. I sank back into the bed, my mind spiraling. How could this be possible? This had to be a dream, some cruel trick, right? But everything felt unbearably real. I could feel the weight of her hair brushing my shoulders, the tightness of her pajama top, and the unfamiliar curves of her body pressed beneath me. I couldn't ignore it. I was her. The room was Emily's, exactly as I remembered from the countless times I had walked past it, teasing her for being obsessively neat. The posters, the clothes perfectly hung, the little trinkets on her desk, all of it confirmed that I hadn't simply woken up somewhere else. I had woken up as her. 1,000 thoughts collided in my head. Was this permanent? Temporary? Some magical twist of fate? Panic clawed at me, but underneath it was a strange, creeping curiosity. Part of me, the part that had always envied Emily's charm, her effortless confidence, and the way people seemed to adore her, wanted to explore this. To see what it was like to walk in her shoes, literally. My work as a junior graphic designer had always been mundane, routine, and a little lonely. I spent most days in a quiet office, lost in spreadsheets and design files, dreaming of a life more vibrant, more noticed. Emily, on the other hand, was magnetic. High school, college, her friends, even casual acquaintances, they all seemed drawn to her. And now, by some bizarre twist, I was the one walking in that life, experiencing her world firsthand. As I tried to calm myself, I remembered the last night vividly. I had fallen asleep exhausted, buried under work and late-night sketches. Nothing seemed strange, nothing out of place. And yet here I was, trapped in a body I didn't recognize, with a face I didn't own. I ran my hands along the curves of this new form, feeling the unfamiliar texture of my sister's clothes. A shiver of both fear and excitement ran down my spine. I thought about AVA, my girlfriend, and my secret cross-dressing habits. I had always experimented in the privacy of my apartment, dresses, makeup, even wigs when I dared. It had been my escape, a thrill I indulged in alone. But now, the thrill had taken a life of its own. I was living as someone else entirely, without the option to step back. The stakes had skyrocketed. Emily's phone buzzed on her bedside table, and I froze. How would I handle her life without giving myself away? Could I pull this off? I picked up the phone cautiously, my fingers trembling. Every notification, every message, reminded me that this was not a harmless prank. It was her life, her relationships, and her routines I was stepping into. I thought about my family, Mom, Dad, my older brother, everyone who had known me as Jake my entire life. How would they react if they saw me like this? And AVA, the thought of her seeing me, or worse, suspecting something, made my chest tighten. The complexity of maintaining secrecy, of navigating daily life in someone else's body, seemed overwhelming. Yet a part of me was undeniably curious. What was it like to live as Emily, to feel the way people admired her, to walk in her shoes? A knock at the door jolted me out of my spiraling thoughts. My stomach churned. I glanced at the clock. Emily would normally be up, getting ready for school. But who was this knocking? Fear surged, my pulse racing. I had to act fast, to get my bearings, to understand the rules of this strange new life. Every instinct screamed at me to hide, to avoid discovery, to survive this surreal predicament. Taking a deep breath, I tried to mimic Emily's usual movements, remembering how she carried herself, graceful, poised, confident. Even in panic, I realized I had to learn quickly, or risk raising suspicion. I touched my hair, brushed it back, adjusted the pajama top that now felt like armor against an invisible threat. The knock came again, more insistent this time. My mind raced. Should I answer it? Who could it be? Every possibility, from friends to neighbors, loomed like a threat. I had to navigate this carefully. I wasn't Jake anymore. I was Emily now, at least for the moment, and the world would expect me to act like her. And as I opened my mouth to respond, a strange sensation coursed through me, a mix of fear, thrill, and a curious exhilaration. Despite everything, I realized something profound. Living as Emily could give me a glimpse into a life I had only ever observed from the sidelines. But at what cost? The journey ahead promised tension, suspense, and transformation. I wasn't just dealing with a new body, I was facing new relationships, new expectations, and the possibility of being trapped in a life that wasn't my own. And deep down, I wondered if, once I stepped fully into Emily's world, I could ever go back to being Jake again. The knock at the door continued, insistent and echoing through Emily's tidy room. My hands trembled as I reached for the handle, trying to steady myself. This was no longer just about waking up in a different body, it was about performing a life I had only observed from the sidelines. Every movement had to feel authentic, every gesture natural. The door creaked open, revealing one of Emily's classmates, a cheerful girl named Mia, holding a stack of books. "Hey, Em. You ready for school?" she asked brightly. My heart lurched. I forced a smile, trying to replicate Emily's casual tone. Yeah, just a minute." My voice sounded different, softer, higher-pitched, and I knew Mia must have noticed. But she just nodded, seemingly satisfied, and left. I exhaled shakily, realizing just how delicate this charade would be. I moved toward the mirror, studying my reflection. Emily's face stared back at me, flawless, confident, and familiar to everyone else, but entirely alien to me. My own insecurities bubbled to the surface. Would I be able to pull this off? Could I navigate her life without slipping up? The stakes were higher than anything I had faced before. Breakfast was another minefield. Mom came in cheerfully, chatting about work and errands, completely unaware of the internal chaos I was experiencing. I tried to respond like Emily, mimicking her expressions, her tone, even the small gestures I had memoized. Every yes, Mom felt like walking a tightrope. One misstep could reveal that I wasn't her. After Mom left, I was left alone with Emily's phone, her messages, and her plans for the day. The pressure mounted as I realized how much of her life was interconnected: friends, school, social events, all requiring precise knowledge I didn't have. The thrill I had felt earlier now mingled with a sharp fear. I had to adapt quickly or risk exposure. By mid-morning, I had memoized her schedule, her friends' habits, and the small quirks that made Emily who she was. But each interaction was a test. In class, I struggled to respond naturally to teachers and peers. A glance at Emily's friend, Liam, made my heart pound. He had always been flirtatious with her, and now he looked at me with the same interest. I felt a wave of panic mixed with curiosity. Could I maintain the illusion? Could I endure the subtle pressures of her life? Lunch brought another challenge. Sitting at her usual table, I had to navigate casual conversations, jokes, and the effortless charisma that Emily radiated. Every word, every laugh, felt like a performance. Yet, despite the stress, I couldn't deny a part of me was enjoying it. The confidence, the attention, the thrill of living as someone so effortlessly admired. Returning home, I faced the biggest internal conflict yet: Emily's wardrobe. Her closet was a treasure trove of dresses, skirts, and shoes, each outfit a symbol of her personality and charm. My hands trembled as I selected a simple yet elegant dress, testing the fit and the way it moved. Slipping into it, I felt a strange surge of empowerment. The dress hugged me, accentuating Emily's curves, and for the first time, I experienced the duality of fear and exhilaration that came with truly becoming her. The mirror became both my ally and my adversary. Staring at Emily's reflection, I grappled with identity, Jake trapped in Emily's body, navigating her world. The thrill of cross-dressing I had once indulged in privately now merged with the life of someone else entirely. Every movement, every glance in the mirror, was a test of authenticity. I practiced gestures, expressions, even the subtle ways Emily tilted her head or smiled, forcing myself to merge my own persona with hers. But the suspense wasn't just internal. Messages began popping up on Emily's phone, friends wanting to meet, plans changing, questions I didn't know how to answer. Each notification tightened the knot of anxiety in my stomach. One wrong response, one misstep, and the secret would be out. I had to think fast, adapt, and maintain composure. Afternoon brought an even greater test. Emily's friends invited her to a spontaneous outing, something I hadn't prepared for. Panic surged, but I realized retreat wasn't an option. I had to act as Emily, navigate her social circle, and keep my secret intact. The outing became a dance of subtle deception. laughing at the right moments, nodding in agreement, responding with familiarity even when I had none. The thrill of pulling it off mingled with the constant tension of potential discovery. Back home, the challenges continued. Emily's journal lay on her desk, filled with personal thoughts, dreams, and fears. I hesitated, torn between curiosity and respect. My temptation won. I skimmed it, discovering a world I had only glimpsed from the outside. Her fears, insecurities, and hopes mirrored my own in strange ways. I realized the emotional depth of stepping fully into someone else's life, how it revealed hidden truths about identity, desire, and vulnerability. As evening fell, the internal tension reached its peak. I had survived the day, navigated school, friends, and social pressures, but the question remained, how long could I sustain this? Could I continue living as Emily without slipping, without revealing the truth? Every glance in the mirror, every interaction, reminded me of the dual life I now led, Jake on the inside, Emily on the outside. And then, the subtle hints of suspense began to surface. A neighbor stopped by unexpectedly. Emily's best friend called with urgent questions. Even AVA, my girlfriend, sent a message that hinted she might suspect something. The web of relationships, expectations, and secrets tightened, creating a constant, thrilling tension. Every moment felt like walking a tightrope over a pit of exposure and embarrassment. By the time night fell, I was exhausted, physically and emotionally. I stared at Emily's reflection one last time before bed. The dress from earlier now hung neatly in her closet. The sensation of truly stepping into her life, the allure, the fear, the responsibility, was overwhelming. I realized that being her wasn't just about appearance, it was about navigating her world, feeling her emotions, and living with the consequences of every choice she would have made. As I lay down, trying to sleep in a body that wasn't mine, the suspense didn't fade. I had survived the day, but tomorrow promised new challenges, more surprises, and deeper revelations. I closed my eyes, feeling the duality of my existence, Jake trapped in Emily's life, and the thrilling, terrifying reality that this was only the beginning. The next morning began with a creeping dread. I awoke in Emily's bed again, the reality of my situation settling heavily over me. The magical twist that had placed me in her body wasn't fading. Each reflection in the mirror reminded me that I wasn't Jake anymore, and the weight of her world pressed down like an invisible hand. Ava's message from the previous night flickered on the screen. Are you okay? You seemed different yesterday. My stomach knotted. Could she somehow suspect the truth already? Panic mixed with the adrenaline of curiosity surged through me. I had to be careful, maintain Emily's composure, and avoid giving anything away. The first obstacle of the day came almost immediately. Emily's mother stopped by unexpectedly, needing help with a minor household issue. My heart raced as I navigated polite conversation, keeping my voice steady, mimicking Emily's tone and rhythm. Every smile, every laugh, every gesture had to be perfect. One misstep could unravel the fragile illusion I had built. But the true test awaited later that morning. Emily's best friend, Zoe, called with an urgent proposition, a group outing to a trendy cafe downtown. Panic and excitement collided. I hadn't been prepared for social scrutiny, and the fear of discovery was intense. I forced a casual, confident response. Sure. I'll meet you there. Minutes later, as I walked out the door in one of Emily's favorite dresses, I could feel every eye on me. Strangers, classmates, even random passers-by seemed to notice me more than usual. I realized with a jolt that part of the thrill and danger of living as Emily was the constant attention. I had never felt this exposed before, and yet the feeling was intoxicating. The cafe was buzzing. Emily's friends were already there, chatting animatedly. They greeted me warmly, expecting familiarity, shared jokes, and casual intimacy. My pulse raced as I forced myself to respond naturally. Every word, every laugh, every glance was a delicate balancing act. One hint of hesitation, one misplaced expression, could raise suspicion. And then it happened. Zoe's gaze sharpened. Emily, you've been acting a little different lately. Are you okay? My heart skipped. The question was innocent enough on the surface, but the undertone of concern and curiosity made it feel like a trap. I swallowed hard, forcing a laugh. Yeah, just a bit tired, that's all. My throat felt dry. Could she see through me? Could she sense that I wasn't really Emily? AVA stepped closer, studying me with that mixture of concern and curiosity that always made my stomach twist. Are you sure you're okay? You seem different than yesterday too. Her words were innocent on the surface, but the underlying tension made my pulse spike. Could she suspect the truth? Could she see past the illusion I had been struggling to maintain all day? I forced a laugh, attempting Emily's casual charm. Yeah, really, I'm fine. Just busy day. My hands fidgeted nervously with the hem of the dress, the silky fabric brushing against my skin and sending shivers down my spine. The duality of fear and exhilaration was overwhelming. I was Jake, trapped in Emily, trying to maintain control while feeling completely powerless. AVA tilted her head, studying me for a long, piercing moment. Well, if you say so, she said finally, but the lingering doubt in her eyes cut sharper than any words. She hesitated, then left the room with a soft, "Okay. I'll check on you later." I exhaled shakily, sliding down onto the bed. The adrenaline of the encounter left me dizzy, trembling. My reflection in the mirror stared back at me, a perfect combination of Emily's poise and my panic, a living symbol of my dual existence. I had survived today, navigated friends, family, school, and unexpected challenges. But at what cost? The magical dress shimmered slightly as if it sensed my turmoil. I ran my hands along it, feeling the curves it accentuated, the way it hugged me in ways Jake's body never could. It was intoxicating and terrifying at the same time, an emblem of the life I had been thrust into. Part of me wanted to embrace it fully, to lose myself in Emily's identity and all the power and attention it brought. But another part, the part that was still Jake, craved to wake up, to return to my own body and my own life. A sudden notification on Emily's phone made me jump. A message from AVA. "Can we talk tonight? I feel like something's off." My heart froze. That single line carried a weight I couldn't ignore. How much did she already suspect? Would tonight be the moment of revelation? The moment that shattered the fragile world I had been desperately maintaining? I paced the room, my mind racing. Every possible scenario played out. AVA discovering the truth, my family noticing discrepancies, friends questioning my behavior. Every interaction, every decision I made from now on would carry enormous consequences. The magical dress, once a thrill, now felt like both a shield and a trap, a constant reminder that I was no longer just me. I glanced at the mirror one last time before sitting on the edge of the bed. Jake's mind, Emily's body, the duality of identity staring back at me. It was dizzying, terrifying, and thrilling all at once. I didn't know how long I could maintain this, or what would happen if AVA confronted me. The room was quiet, almost too quiet, the kind of silence that feels like it's holding its breath. And then, just as I thought I might find a moment of calm, a soft rustling came from the closet. My eyes widened. The dress shimmered again, almost glowing in the dim light. A voice, eerily familiar yet impossible, whispered from the shadows. "You've embraced her, but can you survive being her?" I froze, every muscle in my body taut, my mind reeling. The whisper carried a weight of magic and warning, a reality I wasn't prepared for. I couldn't move. Could it be a trick of my imagination? Or was the magical dress alive? The sense of suspense and danger surged through me, electrifying every nerve. I stared at the mirror again, breathing shallow, feeling the dress tighten slightly, almost as if it were pulsing with a life of its own. The reflection wasn't just Emily anymore, it was me, trapped, terrified, and unsure of what tomorrow would bring. The stakes had escalated beyond anything I could have imagined. One wrong move, one wrong word, and my secret, and my identity, could be exposed forever. And then the room went silent once more. The whisper had vanished, leaving only my racing heartbeat and the shimmering dress. I sank to the floor, the weight of the dual identity pressing down on me. Tomorrow would be another day of navigating Emily's life, facing the eyes of friends, family, and AVA, all while trapped in a body that wasn't mine. I didn't know how I would survive. I didn't know if I even could. But one thing was certain. The magical dress had changed everything, and there was no going back.